Friday Night Live. Oh,
Ooh,
the
gotta
picture thing.
close
Got to
down.
close down some windows.
Oh my gosh.
It's crazy. What's going on, Shan?
I don't know, but we're colorful. Fraser J says, "Are you on the computer waiting while John tries on different shirts?" No, he actually just picked one and went with it.
We're notice the we're wearing the Rock History Music logo
Colors.
colors tonight. That's what we're doing.
Rick May, greetings from Ohio. Finished watching that Ray Milan movie. Lost Whack End. Hit the like button, folks.
Oh, I got to turn that off.
Ooh, hey Spacey, I've already got 2 songs for that list. I'm sure that I'll think of some when the
Okay.
broadcast is over. That's about it, right?
That's what happens. What's the big? That's the big orb behind us, right in the middle.
Darren says, I'll click the like button. If I hit that like button, I'll break my computer screen. We do not want that.
Don't hit the computer screen tool.
Hey Spacey, good evening. Hello everyone.
Hi.
Yes, Fraser J, we are both matching and bright.
It wasn't planned that way. It was just Shannon says pick a shirt.
Because he had on a black shirt. And I'm like,
What?
you can't just wear black. You gotta be a little more...
I was wearing a black
Out
shirt because
there.
I'm going to do the lawn after because it's still quite bright here.
Neutral 69, hi Shannon John.
Hey.
Hi. So yeah, I'm anxious to hear what are the worst songs for you.
Well, Darren was mentioning that Shannon comes up on the list. Henry Grossen's Shannon. It's one of my all-time favorite songs. I love that song. And some people, when he was being a rocker at times or opening up for rock bands, he said sometimes it was challenging to stop a concert basically and play this really sweet, slow song about a dead dog. And but he did play, even though he always tells Shannon she's real purty. But I haven't talked to Henry in a few months.
It's been a couple months.
I'll have to call him
sure.
up and see how he's doing. But he played it for Shannon on Friday Night Live when we had him as a guest. He was a funny guest. Man, he was funny.
Oh, thank you, Danica.
Hi, Danica. That's our autistic wonder, we call her.
And she likes to float around.
MacArthur Park comes up on a lot of lists for worst songs, but I've always liked that song. Jimmy Webb, of course, who wrote so many great hits for so many people, most notably, of course, Glenn Campbell. But I've always been a big fan of... Oh, Ebony and Ivory. Here's one. Yeah, Ebony and Ivory. Paul McCartney. Stevie Wonder. Paul McCartney, even though he's Paul McCartney, did come up with, like, silly love songs will come up on lists. I've always loved that song.
Fraser J says, that circle on your back wall is crying out for the Rock History Music logo.
Oh, you know what? We can do magic. Look at this. Whoa.
Oh my gosh.
Whoa.
Whoa, that's pretty
crazy.
amazing.
Like you can just the magic of a
Right?
mouse. You should leave it there.
Spacey says, don't worry, be happy. By
Bobby McFerrin. Yeah.
Yes.
Again, I played. I when I was doing NAC New Adult Contemporary, which is the wave format, the Quiet Storm, New Age format. When I was doing that, that was one of those songs I never really played, even though the Wave played it, WNUA in Chicago played it. What was the one in San Francisco? Oh God.
Gennaro says, ooh, Imagine by John Lennon.
Really?
I quite like that one.
Yeah,
Darren
but
says,
I can understand that.
The Girl Is Mine, Michael Jackson, Paul McCartney, another duet, is also posted as worst song.
Yes. Those duets sometimes, man.
Kevin says, I worked as a radio DJ. I have a few for you. How about Muskrat Love by Captain and Tennille? LOL.
I didn't mind it because I'm such a big Captain Ed Tennille fan. People are surprised sometimes because I have such a big pop side. Even though this is called Rock History Music, it's the name of our channel is based on Rock History Book, which was a show that Steve Burgess and I, the guy who gave me all those interviews, which now we're finally starting to roll out. He had I think it was a 90-second feature, syndicated feature. And we used to say the history of rock and roll in 90 seconds, and Steve would go through that day in history. So that was called Rock History Book. And then with this one, we decided to call it Rock History Music. We have 2 channels, both History Book, Music, Canada. Long story.
Scott Jackson says, Afternoon Delight.
I will say something about listen, that's always on the list, so you're not wrong. No one's wrong. If you hate a song, you hate a song. Norman Greenbaum Spirit in the Sky. She hates that song.
That's not one of my favorites.
You hate that song.
VTV Classics, Disco Duck, #1 in 1978.
Yes.
I know, but
That's the worst.
It's
Okay, getting back to Muskrat Love. Sorry, I got sidetracked. I'm such a big Captain Antonio fan that I liked it, and of course America too, right? She's okay. She's okay. She can't see your hand.
She's flying around.
She can't see your hand. You're so funny.
David Hedden says, "You beat me to silly old love song."
Yeah, but I had Wings at the Speed of Sound. I bought it. Remember, what's his wife's name? Linda. Linda sang "I'm the cook of the house." Remember on that album? Oh man, that was awful.
Rick May says, "Worst hits in music. How about Disco Duck by Rick Dees or They're Coming to Take Me Away?"
Aha! They're coming to take me away. Haha. Yeah, that's a good one.
Perry says, "Pina Colada song has to be on the list."
Well, Lynn, my ex-wife, Lynn loved that. She loved Rupert Holmes. She wasn't the other hit called "You," I think, if I remember correctly. And she bought the album. Oh, she had it when I met her, right? I can openly talk about my ex-wife because Shannon and my ex-wife are friends. They get along.
Can you turn down that?
Bloop.
Boop.
Bloop.
Yeah, just like a
Yeah, we don't need to hear that. Hold on.
Johnny says any U2 song. I take it he's not a U2
Some
fan.
people just hate U2.
Neutral 69, You Spin Me Round. Oh, by Dead or Alive.
Yeah. That. I think the lead singer passed away, but I remember seeing him and thinking that he seems like an unbelievable performer. Later performed as a woman and then passed away a few years ago. Or I think he had the change. I think that's what he did.
Gerald Lee, hey John and Shan, I have Disco Duck by Rick Dees on my list. I love your channel.
Thank you.
Thanks,
By the way,
Gerald.
I bought the 45. I bought the 45 to Disco Duck. I should, in full disclosure, because I liked Rick Dees because I wanted to be a radio announcer back then as well. And because I knew even before my teens I wanted to be a radio announcer. Someone should have told me, you don't make a lot of money. I've made more money on YouTube than I've ever made in radio. And I'm still in radio.
Janet says, I know we mentioned it at Christmas, but Wonderful Christmas Time by Paul McCartney is horrible.
Elvis Costello said in Rolling Stone magazine, when he was writing with Paul McCartney, he says, Paul's lazy. And it's weird to call Paul McCartney lazy. But he said it must have been when he got out of the Beatles situation, when he was competing with John so much, and himself in some ways, because he was, John had a lot of angst. But he said this about Paul McCartney. He said his songs are unfinished. He says, well, no, this is not finished. Paul said, yeah, it's finished. Oh, Paul McCartney, he would say that.
David Ryder says, Macarena.
Macarena, yeah. But see, again, what Fraser J was mentioning about songs. Oh, no, I think it might have been Darren who said, I'm not sure who said the right said Fred, I'm too sexy. You showed me that a while ago. And I'm going, there's something deadly awful about these songs, but there's also the ear candy part of it, of going, you know, Jennifer Nettles, All I Want to Do. I hate that song so much, but I always have to say that Jennifer seems like the nicest person in the world, and I can't help it. Are you getting younger?
No.
Like,
Blaze.
it seems like every Friday I'll come on here, I'm looking at both of us, and I'm going, I'm looking more like a boot.
We've got some really good lighting in here.
Well, that doesn't help me. Oh, mind you, I'm on the shady side. That's it.
We can change sides if you
It
want.
won't
Is
help.
that going to help?
It's not going to help. Look at her.
Blaze Eisner, brother John and sister Shannon, they had some crazy tunes back in the 60s. Yummy, yummy, yummy. I've got love in my tummy.
Yeah.
Oh my
Look,
gosh,
I could do this. I could do this.
1910 Fruit Gum Company. You guys look good in red. God bless. Thanks.
Thank you. Thanks.
Darren, okay, he's talking to someone else. Fraser J says anything from 2000 onwards. Haha.
You know, we were having this conversation in the car. Every time we go shopping together, and we spend a lot of time together, Shannon and I. We're always together. And when we're not together, like we shop together, we do everything together. And, well, not everything. And anyway, we were talking in the car a while ago about the fact that, you know, I said I should say more often that I like a lot of new music. I really, really do. We listen to the Coffee House on XM, Sirius, and we really like it a lot. And I like a Like, what's the name of that Niall Horan song? I'm not even supposed to like...
Heaven.
What? Yeah, it's a great tune. I love that song. Am I going to go out and buy that? I would never do that. And like I've said the other day, I like Taylor Swift, but not in a way that I would go out and buy her music.
There's actually one that I liked by Elton John and Dua Lipa.
Oh, yeah, the new one, yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was.
Yeah, it's a combination of... There's actually 4 Elton John songs in there. And Where's the Shiraz is at the end from Blue
I'm not
Moves.
big for remixing and stuff, but that was
I'm not
good.
either. It's interesting that we both like that song so much, yeah.
Douglas, hey Douglas, tie yellow ribbon. Tony Orlando.
Tony Orlando.
Jake says Spirit in the Sky.
Shannon hates it.
Jake,
She can't reach the button fast enough.
I don't know.
Yeah. Bleh.
Rick from Top 40 Hub, my ding-a-ling is the worst.
Oh man, I haven't
Tops
thought of
them
that
all,
song. No, it's
in
in
my
my
opinion.
head. Oh man, I haven't heard. And of course, we did the Christmas one. But some Christmas songs
Yes.
aren't so jolly, right? Some of the Christmas songs, I think the hokey ones are like they're meant to be hokey because there's always just sub-genre in Christmas music for that kind of stuff. But yeah.
Hi Jim, Whitebird.
Yeah.
Gennaro says worst Canadian song is Sometimes When We Touch by Dan Hill.
Some people say You're Having My Baby by Paul Anka.
Oh.
What a lovely way of showing how much you love.
Dr. Insomnia said, Babe, what would you say by Hurricane Smith?
What? I'm trying to place it. She's okay. She's okay.
She's just rocking.
She's autistic.
She's
She
rocking and rolling over there.
When people come to visit us, Shan? When people come to visit us, sometimes they'll look at us and go, "How do you take that?" We're going, "Well, she's not."
Because we're just so.
We don't even
used to
hear it. We don't hear it anymore. The fact that I'm kicking this.
John says, nice color matching today. Thank you. Anything by Culture Club is awful, but especially, Do You Really Want to Hurt Me?
I don't like that song either.
Yeah,
I was in radio.
Neither.
I was getting into radio when that song broke. And we were talking about Madonna the other day on the channel. When Borderline I liked from the first album. Everything else off the first album, I remember going, this is just total crap. But then Like a Virgin came out, and I was just starting to get comfortable on the air at that point. And I remember going, I get Like a Virgin. I understand it. And I've said this before, and I'd be remiss if I didn't mention it again. When we were doing a focus group or some kind of research in radio, I think it's when I was a program director, our consultant said that Madonna's music, and pardon me if you've heard me say this before because I say it a lot, Madonna's music tests better when people don't know it's Madonna because she's a polarizing figure, especially in the 80s when she released the book, and that was more Madonna that I wanted to see.
Darren says, ooh, the right said Fred song uses the riff from Jimi Hendrix's song, Third Stone from the Sun.
I didn't know that.
No, I didn't.
I didn't know that. I gotta look. Yeah, cool.
Scott says Seasons in the Sun by Terry Jacks.
Oh, I love that song so much.
Barbie Girl by Aqua. I agree.
I think that's in the Barbie movie. I think so.
Rick Mace's Starship, We Built the City.
On rock and
It was
roll.
played to death.
It was. I remember at the time though thinking, Starship is like one of the biggest bands in the world. I mean, again, Jefferson Airplane, which is a slightly different band, some of the same players, and a different genre. They were so big, and with their debut in '67.
Fraser J says,
second album, rather.
Can anyone name a song in the top 40 now? Haha, I don't think I can.
In the top 40, I play them every night. But I don't hear the music at Move in Vancouver. And there's nothing against it. I think Move's a great radio station. I'm very proud to work there. One of the top stations in Vancouver.
But we'll be like in Say Winners, and he'll hear the very end of a song, and he goes, oh, I know that song.
Because it's voice tracked.
But in the middle of it, you would have
I
no
would
idea
no
what
idea.
the song is. But you go, oh, yeah, I know that song because I...
Yeah.
at the end.
Yeah, it's because when I'm voice tracking, I hear the last 10 seconds of the song so that you can get a feel for it. I either talk fast if it's a fast song, or you guide yourself if you're going from a fast song to a slow song. And basically, when you record, when you voice track, you're pressing the space bar. Space bar starts the song, and then when you're ready to talk, you press the space bar again. It opens the microphone. Then you press it again to start the next element, which would be a commercial or the next song. And then you press it again to stop the element, and then you go up, and you one of these days I'll show you guys what I do.
Thank you so much for being here. Please remember to click that like button.
Yep.
Please, we really appreciate it. It just helps with our algorithm.
Thank you.
Dr. Insomnia, Hooked on a Feeling remake by Blue Suede.
Ooga chaka, ooga, ooga, ooga
Oh,
chaka.
right.
Yeah. I liked it. And what's the one they had before, after that? Was it I'm Alive? They had a follow-up single, which I really liked as well. But it does show up on worst song lists.
George, Music for All Four Seasons. Cynthia.
Oh, yes. Is it
Passed-
while she passed away? She wrote
Yeah.
Here You Come Again. I love
You've
that
Lost
song.
That Loving
You've
Feeling.
Lost That Loving Feeling. But, yeah, I bought that Dolly Parton 45 when it came out. She wrote a lot of hits. Well, the Brill Building. I mean, with her and Barry Mann, her husband. But working at the Brill Building where they had these hit makers putting all this stuff together. Amazing.
Al V says Puppy Love by Donny Osmond is pretty bad.
It's really bad. Puppy Love is one of the
it's
tops.
pretty
Great,
bad.
great. Thank you for that one. Great pick.
Hey Dave, Wheelhauer, hi. Living on a Prayer, so overplayed, so annoying.
But to me, it's probably one of the few Bon Jovi songs that I like. I'm not a fan at all. When we used to have the radio station, which is called Rock History Music, when we had that station online, I gathered a lot of Bon Jovi songs, and then when the station went down, I kept all the music on a memory card. Remember? So when I got my car, my last car, which I sold, like BMWs have a thing underneath the headrest you can just put a little memory stick in. So I put it in there, and so it was the radio station that I built, and then John Bon Jovi's music came on, and every time I'd go next, and one day I'm going, just take Bon Jovi's music off it.
JD says, I find Tainted Love by Soft Cell is the worst song. How in the world did it get to number one?
Yeah, it was a big song. We still play it at Move. I don't mind it. I go from... I was talking to a cohort, not at my radio station, but the other day, and he was saying to me, he says, well, I like all the music we play. I said, you can't like all the music.
Kurt
You
says,
play.
the Steve Miller Band, Abracadabra, awful song, LOL. Oh, by the way, Elvis Costello was so overrated. Oh my goodness, sorry.
I've never bought Elvis Costello music. I like Graham Parker a little bit better. My friend liked Graham Parker. I never bought a Graham Parker album, but I would make mixtapes of his stuff.
Rick May says, Elvira by the Oak Ridge Boys is country and it's tedious.
Oh my God! What a great thank you.
was-
What a great great addition. Look at the body language. Elvira. Oh, yeah, I hated that song.
Kurt Randall Rock says, hello there, lovebirds. Rock on, brother and sister. Thank you, Kirk.
Thanks.
Scott Jackson says, you guys are stepping on some of my favorites.
Well, hey, you're not wrong.
Everybody,
Everyone's right.
Yeah, everybody has. Yeah, some of these here I go, I don't mind that, but other ones I'm going, oh my gosh, how could I not have thought of that one because it's really bad. So
Well,
it really depends.
It's interesting. I was talking to Stuart Epps, who's a great interviewer. I interviewed him twice. Who's worked with Jimmy Page and Elton John and a whole bunch of other artists. We were talking about A Single Man, which I used to dislike. I liked it. Then I had to admit to myself that I didn't like the album. Then I went full circle and I liked it, and I've liked it for the last 25 years or something like that. But the only thing I didn't like about the album is it didn't have a lot of bottom end. And here I'm talking to the engineer of the album, right? Like he's the engineer. And I said, well, I had to tell him that I didn't really like it because of that. And he took it really well. He doesn't take things personally because he's going, well, I mixed it the way I mixed it.
Johnny says Unskinny Bop by Poison.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Some people think it's pretty catchy, but I don't like Poison at all. I'm not a hair band guy.
Spacey says, I'll get flack for this one, but my Sharona is also on my do not like list.
Yeah.
Ebony and Ivory by Paul McCartney and Stevie Wonder.
Yes, please. Put that on the list. It's just so schmaltzy, you know?
Oh my gosh.
And it hasn't but of course it hasn't stood the test of time.
Tony says, hi Tony, I like these songs until I heard them too much in karaoke. American Pie and Total Eclipse of the Heart are now the worst ever. God bless the USA by Lee Greenwood.
Yeah, I didn't like that song. Heavily patriotic songs, to me, Yeah, they don't. They don't do a lot for me. They're. I can understand. The people who go, "Oh my God, I love that Our Country."
Gennaro says the worst song, "My Heart Will Go On" by Celine Dion.
It's one of the worst. But it's one of the most requested songs. When I was doing a show called Love Songs for quite a few years, I did it on 2 stations. I did it on 14C1 in Vancouver, and I did it on QMFM, also in Vancouver. And I'd have to say it's one of the most top 10 requested songs. I Will Always Love You, Everything I Do for You, all the ones you expect. Total Eclipse of the Heart. You probably know more of those, even though I hosted the show. She knows all the love songs.
LV says, "Do you think I'm sexy?" by Rod Stewart.
Yeah. Carmine Appice co-wrote that song, his drummer at the time, Vanilla Fudge drummer. And I tried to get out of him what parts he did, what parts he contributed to the song. But that's, I like the keyboard into that. I used to think it was John Jarvis. Remember my buddy John Jarvis, John Barlow Jarvis from Nashville. He co-wrote "I Still Believe in You" with Vince Gill, and was a new age artist in the '80s. Long awaited, So Far So Good was one of his biggest albums. Anyone knows John Jarvis will know that he's like just an amazing. I phoned studios in Nashville to track him down, and immediately people said, "Oh, you're looking for John Barlow Jarvis? Yeah, he's playing over there today." And I phoned the studio. And this guy said, "Yeah, he just finished a session. He'll talk to you." And I started talking. I said, "I'm a big fan." He says, "Oh, right on. Who are you?" And we became friends. And but anyway, I used to think, because John Barlow Jarvis played keyboards for Rod Stewart, so I used to think that that was him. And I looked really quickly, and it's not him. But he toured with Rod Stewart, and also Endless Flight. He was on a lot of albums, but remember the title song to Endless Flight, Leo Sayer? That piano? That's John Barlow Jarvis. He went by John Jarvis back then.
Lindy Lou says, "Anything from the Beastie Boys or Katy Perry?"
Yeah. Katy Perry's shouts a lot. She's the shouter. When she first came out, someone said, "You mean the girl who shouts all the time?" I was trying to explain. I couldn't remember her name. And it was another radio guy. And he says, "You mean the girl who shouts?" I'm going, "Yeah, that's Katy Perry."
Douglas says, "New hit Slide Past Me unnoticeable. Only one #1 Billboard hit since 2010 has had a key change. Gone to are time signature changes, keyboard and guitar instrumental parts, and longer songs."
And the phrasing is out the window too. The good phrasing is. I was just talking to Mark Jordan, who co-wrote "Rhythm of My Heart." Speaking of Rod Stewart, and I was asking him, and he says, "Well, I agree with him though. I still hear a lot of stuff that I like. To me, more than who plays on it. At the end result, I like it, but a lot of things are derivative because everything's been done, right? Almost."
David Ryder said, "Went to see Rat at the Cow Palace in 1985, and some band called Bon Jovi was the opener."
Oh my God! Well, I talked to Derek Schulman, who signed them. Derek was the former lead singer of the prog band Gentle Giant, and he basically put the band together with John's help. Of finding everyone around. They were so excited about signing that band. And Derek signed a lot of rap artists as well. He doesn't differentiate between rap and other things. Derek's a good interview. He's a good guy.
Rick Top 40 Hub said Blue Suede did "Never My Love" and "Silly Millie."
Oh, I didn't know they did, but I almost bought the album. I remember it was between Blue Suede and something else. It's in my journal. I wrote everything in my journal. Went down to the store, picked up a hamburger, decided to walk across the street. I thought I saw someone from my class. Went to Zeller's.
And you've never opened them ever since.
Oh, I can't. Well, I've read a little bit of it. I found the page when you and I met. I found that page because I didn't realize I took it out years ago to read it. And I thought, I wonder if I wrote "The Day I Met Shannon." I said, I must have wrote "The Day I Met Shannon." And I did. Oh. Met the most wonderful woman. She's so pretty.
Thanks. Darren says it seems that the novelty songs are voted the worst ones.
Yeah, it's true. They don't stand the test of time. Rick Roberts from Firefall he says when he used to do songwriting circles and things to teach kids how to write, he'd always say, be careful to put things in your writing that will not stand the test of time. Hokey things that you know aren't going to last. He says, don't do a lot of that because, I mean, I understood that advice, but I think a lot of people do. Country music is notorious for doing that kind of stuff. My dog is dead.
Dr. Insomnia said Ben by Michael Jackson, a love song to a rat.
Oh, Michael. I always get these people, and I understand, and excuse me, I say this a lot. There's the homers, right? They're the home team. You can't do anything wrong. And Michael Jackson has a lot of homers. They live with him, man. He's long dead, but he does nothing wrong. And I always go, okay, you love Michael Jackson's music. You really identified with him, and that's really, really nice. But Michael Jackson was one weird bobbity boopity. I won't say those words.
VTV Classics, Twisted Sister with I Wanna Rock, and We're Not Gonna Take It.
Yeah, look at the on my phone. Look what I got on my phone. There you go. That's Shani. She's on my phone, so when she phones me, I love that picture.
Thanks. Tainted Love was a original 1964 song by Gloria Jones.
Yeah, old song.
Oh, David Ryder said My Sharona was one of the greatest guitar solos ever, but the rest of it, meh.
I love that song. That song brings me back to 1979. But I also know a lot of people who did not like that tune.
Oh my gosh, this username, and excuse me if I butcher this, 1165901116590. This is a topic I've been waiting for. These Friday night streams are great to open some wine and grill with. Thanks. Oh, good. Good.
And our topic is orange tonight, really.
Yes.
That's the major topic. It's orange.
Catherine S. says, I Don't Care for Physical by Olivia Newton-John.
Oh, I didn't realize until just like an hour before I interviewed Steve Lukather again for like the 8th time or whatever. I was going to ask him about it. I never got around to it. But I talked to Mark Jordan a lot about, because Amy Skye, his wife, who's also a singer, worked and produced with Amy Skye. And Mark had known Olivia, rather. Mark had known Olivia for a lot of years. So he gave me a really beautiful quotes about Olivia, who he says she was sick for most of her adult life, that people didn't know that. Yeah, she's pretty amazing.
And I was pretty excited that you were going to actually have an interview with
Almost.
her, but of course, he was right in the queue, and I was so excited. It's like, oh.
Because Mark said, I told him, I said, I was talking to, I forget the guy's name. I looked it up and I put it down. I said, I was talking to so-and-so. He said, oh man, you must have come close. I said, well, I came close, but, wherever she is, I hope she's doing well.
Adelaire says, I don't like Come On Eileen by Dexy's Midnight
I tried
Runners.
to like the album. Remember they won the Grammy for Best New Artist and then disappeared from the face of the earth. Hi, Danica.
I'm just going over. Sorry, there's a lot here. I'm just trying to catch up here.
Remember, let me know if someone's writing something that...
Yeah, James B. Shears. Hey, James. Greetings from
James B. Shears.
Dogtown Road. Happy
Hey,
Friday,
James.
Shannon and John. Hope you and the family are well. We are. Thank you. Rick May, Mac the Knife by Bobby Darin. An oldie, but not a goodie.
Oh, wow. I've always loved that song, but I can understand some of those old songs have a hokey feel. And I can certainly understand why, but Bobby Darin, that's such a sad story. He died way too young.
Thank you, James. Please don't forget to hit that like button. Yes, thank you. We so appreciate it.
Thank you very much.
Chris Booth, discounting today's hit music because it's almost all awful. The worst classic hit for me is Paul Anka, She's Having My Baby. It's about as bad as the Cars for Kids jingle.
Oh, the Cars for Kids jingle. That is so... Oh, yeah, that's always on the list for bad commercials. And yeah. I'm one of the... Speaking of commercials, she always laughs at me. I'll see...
all the time.
I'll say, that's the actress from that other commercial.
And she's doing in this commercial. I'm like, that's
sure,
okay.
I needed that information.
Yeah. Look, it's the same person that was in this commercial, but over here. I'm like, That's great.
Yeah, put more salsa on that taco. That actress in that
That's-
commercial
that's
is in
great.
that new Canadian lovey-dovey Hallmark-like show, which I love, by the way. I do love that show.
Surfer Boy, hey everyone from Boston, hi.
Hi.
VTV, Kiss, lick it up, haha.
Oh yeah, yeah. A lot of Kiss. I like the first 4 or 5 albums. I really did like those first 4 or 5 albums. After Destroyer, though, I was kind of gone.
Surfer Boy says, love your shirts, John. Always festive. Thank
Thank
you. Kurt says, when I was in my second year in college in 1982, my girlfriend at the time loved Frank Zappa and Moon Unit's song Valley Girl.
Oh,
she
yeah.
drove me nuts with this song. LOL, thus became the 80s.
Gag me with a spoon.
Right?
Yeah, remember?
Neutral 69 passed the Dutchie.
Oh, it's a terrible song. It's a
I'm not going to be able to get that one out of my head now.
Oh, no. We used to play it at K-Light. We used to play that song. You know, we played a lot of stuff back
Oh,
then.
dear.
It was top 40, though. We.
Fraser J says, Africa by Toto. Just kidding, John.
Well, if you don't like it, that's okay. By the way, I talked to John Zeke yesterday for about an hour, and John's the guy who's Bobby Kimball, the lead singer of Toto, for quite a few years. He's his producer, and he's about to release fairly soon a 7-minute trailer where he talks to everybody past and present in Toto. Jeff's obviously not on there because he's not with us, but it's something else. It's really, really something else. And Bobby, we're losing Bobby fairly quickly. He's not in good health. So he'll never perform again. He'll never record again. They're remixing his, I think, first album with John Zeka. But the documentary is going to be something else. And we'll have John coming on this channel in the next 2-3 days to take your questions about Bobby and how he's doing and all that stuff. But the documentary is something else.
Rick Top 40 Hub, Mr. Jaws by Dickie Goodman, a high charting novelty tune.
Oh my God, I haven't thought of that. How dare you remind me of that song. Oh my God, I haven't thought about that.
Jeffrey
in so
Weaver,
long.
I'm a Barbie Girl.
Yeah.
Sarah Wallace, Call Me Maybe by Carly Rae Jepsen.
Yeah, Carly Rae Jepsen, yeah.
Jim, hey Jim, Mr. Roboto.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan of that song. I wasn't a fan either. You guys are coming up with all the top ones. I have the list on my phone, and I went, no, unless we don't have any, and everyone likes to talk about songs they don't like. You're watching this channel. You have you like music. You want. It's important to you. Sometimes you want to vent. So half the shows we're going to have on Friday Night Live, half of them we're going to be like, why I oughta to that song or artist or whatever.
Sherry Berry, worst song ever, The Night Chicago Died.
Her name is Sherry Berry?
Yeah. Now, as you know,
That's a great name.
when we go through this, it's not going to be the worst song for everyone. Some people are going to like different songs.
No, of
Others are
course.
going to say,
Well, Sherry's. By the way, that comes. You know that song comes up. I bought that album. I got it in the deleted file, and the rest of the album was not any better.
Gucci, Bruce Springsteen, Born in the USA.
Yeah, again, I'm not a big kind of, but that's not a We Love America song. It's not about that.
Surfer Boy, Kung Fu Fighting, Carl Douglas.
I'm surprised that hasn't come up already.
Oh my gosh, that's right.
If you look up rock history music, Kung Fu Fighting, you'll get what's his name? Oh God, Lenny Zakatek, the second most used singer in the Alan Parsons Project, talking about how that Carl Douglas hit got made. And excuse me, it's a great quote. He was there.
Gary True.
Oh, yeah, I think it's true.
True. Hello, John and
Trey.
Shan. I am glad to see you tonight. Hi, welcome. David says Jerry Garcia, Grateful Dead lyricist. Robert Hunter's most modern, dated word he ever used was styrofoam. Styrofoam is from the 1940s.
Oh God, Danica, come say hi. Come say hi. Say hi.
Okay.
No, you gotta say
hi.
Hi.
Okay.
That's
Thanks, Danica.
Autism Glory. She's so sweet. Danica is like such a sweet girl 99% of the time. And then if the schedule changes, because we're good at this now, and I was trying to get Steve.
Or she's obsessing over something.
Yes.
Or she can't close a file.
It ain't good.
It lasts for a long time.
I warn neighbors every time we live, like we are in a new area, saying, sometimes she's a little loud. So we're not trying to kill her. That's basically her all on her own. But what was I going to say? I gave a recipe, a way of getting autistic kids, I didn't invent it, to eat more than white food, because they love white food, to Steve Lukather. And the last time I checked, he hadn't used it on his son, because his son's autistic.
But that's a great tool, though, for
Oh, yeah, because he only eats... Yeah, because even last time I talked to him, I said, how's your son? And Luke says, oh, it's a journey, man. It's a journey.
Tony Del Monte, I like Born in East LA than Born
Oh,
in
yeah.
USA.
Cheech and Chong.
Surfer Boy, My Sharona by The Knack.
That's coming up a lot.
And again, some people say My Sharona rocks. It's all subjective. Spacey says, since Bon Jovi has come up, I'd like to say I'll Be There For You is the worst ever. I'm not sure if it was hit or not.
There's just something very... as a person, I'd love to sit down and talk to John Bon Jovi. I think he's an interesting chap. It's just that, again, it gets back to when you were a kid and you fell in love with someone at the playground, and then they spit on you or something, or I don't like you, and if someone would have just come up and told us, she's an apple, you're an orange. It's never going to work. It can't work. She's not doing it to, she's bratty. She's a kid. Music's that way too. I've been asked sometimes, hey, do you like that song? I said, well, it's not it's not one of my favorites of your music. And I find it's my duty to tell them, right? But lately, all the new albums I've been receiving from older artists, I've liked almost all of them,
Rick May, Tone Loc Wild Thing. He sampled Eddie Van Halen. Seriously? Metal Reaper, hey, Lady Bump by Penny McLean.
I don't know that. Do you?
I don't either. Nope. Al V says The Candyman by Sammy Davis Jr.
Who can make the sun rise?
Fraser J, isn't it strange how some of these people's worst suggestions I really like, and just shows how subjective music is and why it's so great? Totally. That's what I was saying here as well. It is so subjective.
Okay, I'll say this.
Okay.
You've heard me when I came down.
Right.
I had the MacBook that we're broadcasting with. I was playing Moonlight Feels Right, the album, which a lot of my friends, I just talked to Bruce Blackman, the lead singer and the keyboard player, who wrote that for his wife. And I love the album. And my friends would say, oh my God, it's very bubblegum. I'm going, I don't know why I like it. I like it. I like every song on that album. And when it came out, I loved it. Like, I really, really, like, I've got to know. She's heard me sing and he made you fool down a 42nd Street. I mean, I love that album. And you can't talk someone out of not loving something. They go, well, you have no taste, or I don't know. And I'm not saying it's known as a bad album or anything, but I'm going, it was a little bubblegummy for my friends who, because I was listening to Zeppelin back then as well. And a lot of Nazareth, a lot of heavy stuff.
It's nice people are saying, hello, Danica. Thank you for sharing your smile with us. Hi, Danica. It's so thoughtful. Thank you.
By the way, the interview with Luke is coming up, I think, next week or the week after. Yeah. He wants me to release it in one chunk. That's the only thing he asked, because he doesn't. And I went, yeah, I can do that.
So there's so many on here. Let's see. Heartbeat by Don Johnson.
I don't remember it. I remember, all the singers back then, all the actors were trying to sing.
Danica. Oh my gosh, he had to get one yawn in. Danica looks like you, Shannon. Oh, thank you. I think we look a little bit alike.
I've never seen it, ever. But people say that. Now I've got that Starbucks song.
Michael says, these discussions are terrible. The only songs I hate or dumb novelty songs, and most of after 2010. Well, you're obviously entitled to your opinion, of course. Tony, John, I'm 51 with autism, was diagnosed at 18 months old in June of 1973, so nearly 50 years ago. Wow. Yeah, Danica is 25 now, so.
I remember the day we found out. I mean, I always knew because I worked with autistic kids, adults rather, before that. When my show became voice tracked, and before, I think it was before I went full time, because at the current place I'm at now, and I've been there since 1990. But before I went full time, I worked at a group home with autistic adults, and I remember thinking, this lady who had Robert was the guy who was looking after her. I remember looking at her and go, "How do you do it?" And she's, "Well, he's here. He's at a group home. I can't handle him." And he was a big guy, and he was very low functioning, and he stimmed a lot like this. You know, he was always doing that. But he was there was a feeling about him that was just wonderful. I don't know what it was. I remember thinking, I just like being around him. But I don't know if I could handle if I was the parent of an autistic kid. And every parent handles it for the most part. And every parent sees the good stuff in, you know.
Everyone had, of course, they're just saying everyone has their likes and dislikes. Depends on your, let's see here. What does the fox say?
Oh my God. I you know what? It's so weird, but they have that new commercial now and those guys are on there. What is that, an insurance commercial? What is that? That guy says at the end, "That is the fudge." I don't know who that guy is at the end of that commercial. Who's the girl does oh God, I forget. Oh, it'll come to me.
It'll come to you later.
Kalita, what's her name? You know, the one that's that hokey song.
Yes. Darren says, John and Shan, are you still doing the Scrabble game with Danica when the Friday Night Live is done? You know, yes, but actually she does it a little bit later in the evening.
Yeah, because we're not in Moncton anymore.
We're not in Moncton, so yes, but we still do that. Yeah, thanks for asking.
A few times when I'm interviewing people, like I think it was Mark Jordan this week. Yeah, it was Mark Jordan. He says, "Where did you move? What happened to you?" I said, "Well, I moved to Moncton because last time I talked to him, I was in Calgary. Then we moved across the country, and you know, with everything, with 2 cars, everything. And then I sold my car, but we ended up. Chase bought his car here. So he said, "What? How much did that cost you?" I'm going, "It's not cheap."
Fender says, was Walk the Dinosaur. Oh, bloody heck.
Very novelty, yeah.
It was.
Yeah. Remember the Mark Knopfler solo song, "Once Upon a Time, There Were Dinosaurs. There aren't no dinosaurs anymore."
Sherry piped in, Brad Delp, best lead vocalist ever, R.I.P.
Yep, not our topic, but I think he's one of the greatest voices of all time. I'm so sad that was a death that I think since John Lennon, he was the first big one for me. It just completely shocked me that he died.
Oh, people are just talking with each other here.
Oh, good.
Let's see here.
What was I going to say? Oh, it looks like we'll have an interview with the drummer of Kansas, Phil Ehart, next week. We just talked to Rich from Kansas about a month ago or 2 months ago. That series did incredibly well. And we've got Steve Lukather coming up, Bruce Blackman from Starbuck, like I said. By the way, Starbuck tried to sue him. And then he reminded Starbuck that he's owned that name since blah, blah, whatever it was. And they kind of backed off because he told me Starbucks sues everyone. I don't know if that's true, but that's what he told me. Hi, Shan.
Hey, people are just talking with each other.
Yeah. Hey, what's going down? Yeah, don't you love when people do YouTube videos? They go, "Hey, man, what's up?" They always do that. "What's going on?" You know, ask a screen that's not talking back to you. This is different. What's going on? They're not going to look at the screen and go, "Oh, I'm fine, thank you." And you? You know.
VTV Classics. Itsy Bitsy Teeny Weeny Yellow Polka Dot Bikini.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all the novelty songs. They don't stand the test of time. But orange is always a hot color. A little hotter over there.
Tony piped in and said, John, just remember the quote from me is, I am autistic and proud of it and will never be guilty by it.
Yeah, yeah.
Of course.
But but you feel what you feel, and as a parent of a she's high functioning, but she goes to the bathroom by herself and stuff. But it's when she's having bad days, it's a chore. Yeah. So we're not doing any shame about it. We're just going, as parents of an autistic kid, it's sometimes challenging.
Fraser J, please tell Steve L to dye his hair back. Haha.
That's the first thing he said. He said, I told him, I said, everyone thinks that I like look, can she see it there? Can you see the gray?
A little bit right here.
Yeah, see? Everyone thinks I dye my I don't, because of this. I don't dye my hair. I have gray hair. Look, it's right there. But I don't have a lot for 63. My father was 87 when he died, and the biggest comment that people got when they were walking by his open casket, people hadn't seen him in years. They all went, "Wow, did he dye his hair?" And my mother would say, "He doesn't dye his hair. Who cares? I used to dye this. I had no problem with it." But
Janet says, so many of these song titles are getting giggles from me. I remember them too well, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Surfer Boy said, "What's going on?" Great song.
What's going on? Like Marvin Gaye, what's going on?
Just said, "What's going on?" Great song.
Chase is a big Curtis Mayfield, Marvin Gaye fan, our son Chase, who just joined probably one of the best bands he's ever been in. He's already been approached on stage. A country singer came up to him and says, "I want you to be my drummer." And talked to Chase's guitarist and said, "I want you to be my guitarist." And Chase said, "No, I want to kind of do my own thing." Right? So they're doing, the only problem, I was telling John Zaka this, Bobby Kimball's producer from Toto, they tried to do White Sister, and they have a great vocalist, but to sing White Sister from Toto's second album, you have to be like a wham bam, like you got to be up here. And nothing against Chase's singer, but I told Chase, I said, don't do songs out of your singer's wheelhouse. Don't do that. You can find a whole bunch of songs where he sounds amazing in, but White Sister, don't do Bobby Kimball. American Idol, don't do Whitney Houston. Don't do Mariah Carey.
Unless you can really
don't
belt
do
those
Celine
out.
Dion, unless you're one of the few people who can.
Spacey says, a couple more here before we close. Okay. Pour Some Sugar on Me. Needs a mention.
Yeah. Never really minded it, but yeah.
Dr. Insomnia said Sid Vicious singing My Way was horrible.
Oh my God. Yeah, I dislike punk with a passion. Really, I understand how it influenced a lot of bands, but yeah, a lot of them couldn't play. We're going to wrap things up.
We are. But, yeah.
Thanks, everybody, for coming on.
Thank you.
We'll do the slow burn fade out.
It's all very subjective as to what you like, what you don't like, but it was fun kind of going down memory lane tonight. I enjoyed it. Thank you so much for being a part of it.
Spirit in the Sky.
Not my favorite.
For me, it was All I Want to Do. I think that's what a Sugarland song. It's one of my most hated songs. And again, Jennifer Nettle seems like a nice girl. I'm not saying that. She's a great singer. Jason Sheff said from Chicago, formerly of Chicago. He's worked with her they were co-judges on a TV show. And the salt of the earth. Nice person. But there you go.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks.
Till next Friday.
Next Friday, we're going to do a positive one.
Yes, and have a great weekend.
Most underrated performers or songs are one of those, and or.
Bye.
See you guys. Take care. Love you guys.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.